What is a meta-analysis? Yeah, I quote meta-analysis statistics all the time. I should explain what those are. In the hierarchy of scientific evidence, the top, the pinnacle, the most evidency of the evidence is meta-analyses and the different types of scientific reviews. Systematic reviews typically incorporate a meta-analysis, but not always. And then the thing additional that a systematic review would contain versus a paper that's just a straight meta-analysis would be a review of the mechanistic scientific literature, so animal and cell culture studies that help to explain the results seen in humans. And I still haven't answered the question yet, have I? So what makes a meta-analysis so valuable and higher quality evidence is that what scientists do in a meta-analysis is pool together data from multiple different studies that are all looking at a similar question. What this does is it increases the amount of data, so that gives higher statistical power. It diversifies the data, so for example, you might look at similar studies from multiple different countries. And the idea is to look at all of the studies that have tried to answer a similar question and see what they overall show. Where does most of the evidence point to? Or what is the effect on average? Is there an effect on average? And perhaps even more importantly, meta-analyses always include a step where they evaluate the quality of a study and risk for bias. So they look at conflicts of interests, they look at the funding sources, they look at the quality of the data, how representative the population samples are, they look at the types of measurements that are made, they look at things like blinding. Single blind would mean the study participants don't know what group they're in, but the researchers do. And double blind would mean that both the study participants don't know what group they're in and the researchers don't until after they've done all the statistical analysis. So meta-analyses have way bigger data sets because they pool together data from multiple studies. They evaluate the quality of the study and don't even include studies at high risk for bias. Or they can also weight them differently in their analysis is another way they can go. They often then look at supporting evidence from mechanistic studies like animal studies and cell culture studies. So they not only have the highest statistical power, but they also have the most objective measurements and data sets. So they tell us where the preponderance of scientific evidence lies and where scientific consensus is developing. Now, the reason why I quote meta-analyses and systematic reviews the most often is exactly because they are the highest standard of studies, the most trusted data that we have, and the best way to combat all of the misinformation online.